wagwan wazee ya.
Yeah.
Another episode. Leo mazee. Niko na co-host hapa kwa pilot bana.
Yeah.
Kama kawa.
I go by Joseph Ombam, aka Bobby J Boblings, Point God
mwenyewe. Na guest ni mzee. Yaani hata kawaida manzee hatupigangi intro sisi. Ukipiga intro kuna mahali unaweza
haribu.
Uharibu kwa maneno. So guest manzee special guest mzee. Kwanza kwangu mimi acha ajipige intro. Apige tarumbeta yake.
Well, I'm just Coach Abel son. I'm an NBA scout. As a basketball player, aka Alibaba. Played basketball, knocking down J's as usual in threes. Right now, I'm back to coaching and consulting and, trying to help build the game. Lakini asanteni sana. Welcome hapa. I'm glad to be here.
Any day.
So, ni na vitu mbili because of him. Ya kwanza, kuna time nilikuwa Uganda. Kwa nimekalishwa kiti mbaya sana.
Bench warmer.
Nilikuwa bench warmer mtu wangu. Lakini siwezi walaumu juu alikuwa anafaa ku start game hiyo siku. Ezra Alenga manzi. Big up wherever you are. Ezi alipata injury nyingine hapo tukikuwa scratch. Hiyo siku. So mimi kocha akaniita kando tunaanza game yangu ya kwanza kabisa ya Uganda. Sasa hiyo ndio ilikuwa game yangu ya kunikaribisha Uganda. Ezi akaumia, mimi nikaingizwa game hiyo siku. So nikiwa hapo ndani ya game sikuwa najua kumbe Abel yako area. Mimi naangalia kwa crowd baadaye manze naona Abel yako area bana mtu wangu. Familia face at least mtu mwenye nilikuwa namjua. Nikaona Abel manze yako area ikatrigger
lazima performance.
Kitu fulani ndani yangu. Performance ya leo lazima ikuwe ni show. So hiyo ndo ya kwanza. Ya pili, wase wengi wanasikia gani kijita hashtag watu wangi kutoka wapi. Wase wengi wajui. So hiyo hashtag
sasa
ilikuwa pesa. Wewe unajua je iko kwa watu yote.
Ukiona kwa blue band.
Kwa blue band?
Kwa mtoi.
Kwa mtoi. Hiyo siwezi kumbuka. Ilikuwa ile blue band ya mkebe. Kabla walitange ma plastic. Sasa hiyo time mwanzo tukiwa hapo Nyayo. I think tulikuwa tumeenda break. Then tulikuwa tumekaa ndani ya Gaya, Togo, wase kadhaa tu hapo. Then Avena Gaya unajua ni wase wale watu wa maoji wabake mbaya. So wakaanza kutuingilia manze. Ni soft easy. Hii generation manze soft. Waseni wa soft manze basketball ya squeeze ni shit sana. Watu wa go hard. So ndo akaniambia sisi in the 90s bake ilikuwa ngumu sana. Haikuwa bake rahisi. Guys were grinding ile ukweli. Unaona kulia foul za ujinga nini. Watu walikuwa wanacheza bake. So hiyo hashtag ya built for the 90s kama na ndio mtu wa kwanza alisema built for the 90s. He was built for the 90s. Yena guy.
Yes.
Na mimi
ukaipigia hapo.
So manze karibu sana manze.
Asante sana. No blood no foul.
No blood no foul. Hivyo ndio inakuanga. Hiyo ni sheria.
Yes.
Asante sana kufika. Vitu ni mob za kuongelea. Ni mingi sana. Hata kabla tuende kwa mingi sana. Tuambie tu kidogo ka wiki kako kamekuwa.
My week has been all right. Nimeanza kufanya mazoezi na timu yangu because I'm like, normally a team should have a pre-season. Many of our teams don't like pre-season. Tunangoja fixtures itoke alafu tunaanza kutrain 3 weeks before. You can't get anything done. Right now we have 2 months before the league starts in September. It allows you to work on player skills, work on their fitness. Pole to gradually you improve on things. You have new players, you can integrate the system after 4 weeks. Like vitu zinaenda tu mdogo mpaka utafika. So I'm really excited about that because it's very new. Usually tunamaliza season kama tunaanza ile nyingine. So there's usually no real time for players to build on their skills, which I think in turn affects watu all the time because you don't have time to work on your game because mara moja ni game ushafika league, coach anataka kushinda game, so what is he going to do? Kama bado huja perfect left hand layup itabidi tu ukae nje. So that's what I've been preoccupied by, doing a lot of watching and reading stuff, looking at my teams last season and what was not right, what was right. Plus na recruit, ukiona watu hapo utaona kuna watu kadhaa new faces. My youngest is 18, turning 19, which is good. So we're trying to do that.
Yangu imekuwa easy. Nisherehekea birthday.
Happy birthday.
Shukran.
Karibu.
Tunajua ni bidhaa. So ndio imekuwa highlight ya wiki yangu tuseme. So bado sherehe inaendelea wiki nzima. Kutoka hapa tutajua.
Kutoka hapa mambo inaweza
Friday is the right day.
Sawa. So kuna kitu uko nataka kuuliza hapo.
Yeah. Avemi first nataka kuangalia tu in terms of the ladies teams. Na kama balance, there is no balance for the Premier League. Premier League. Sasa inasema 3 teams.
Yeah.
That's Equity, KPA, Equity, Zetech.
Yes.
Join the party. Who bridge your gap? What should we do?
Well, one, look, it's a good question. The real thing is this. I'm trying to find the right words. Issue ni, you have a lot of teams that have the same players, right? I can go to KPA and say, the ladies you said, point guard is Natalie. Then the other one is Carol. Then the other one is Jemima. Then now the other one is Hilda Degwa. That was in Equity. Those are 4 guards who can arguably start in any other team, right? Just to give that example. So if all of them are in one team, it means that when they face other teams, there's nobody they're playing against. Juwota ko team moja. And this is not just them. So the top 3 teams is what replicates across. I just gave that example, but it's what replicates all across. They'll tell you it's competitive, but I don't think it's competitive if LeBron, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, and Jokic join one team. Well, I don't know what competitiveness you're talking about. There's nothing competitive about that. It just means that you don't feel like playing against anybody. So that's the first thing that should be curbed. People should stop chasing each other. They should try to compete against each other. Because what happens in the ladies' league, what I've noticed is, opposed to trying to beat KPA or Equity, they want to join KPA or Equity. So no, you have to gang up to beat them. That's what creates a competitive league. Go elsewhere, form your own team. I don't know. You get it? Yeah. Go there and beat them. People talk all the time about sponsors, but a sponsor cannot come and sponsor a team that is not winning. I coach Storms. I tell my players, you think we're going to get a sponsor if you lose 7 games in the season, 8 games? No. Focus, we win. If you win, the sponsor sees value. If you beat KPA and you beat Equity and you beat Zetech, they're like, oh, okay. Kumbe mnaweza. Awacha nisaidia our wasichana. You can't help a person who can't help themselves. In life, if you want somebody to do something for you, you have to start it. So in the ladies' league, that's the biggest problem. We are not trying to compete. Our ladies are trying to follow those who are winning. Currently, we might see a bunch of girls in some teams who are thinking of, hey, naomba KPA nichukue, naomba tu Equity nichukue. Why? Opposed to trying to say, we focus to train to wafunge.
A follow-up.
Yes.
Is it a player's problem ama pia ni the structure yake hiyo? Kuna wale wanaweza vetu waseme hii player is in.
So that vetting part, which is funny you saying that because I mentioned that in the GM, I was like, the Secretary General, I'm like, SG, the league is yours. You have to start stopping certain actions and say this cannot happen because you're destroying my league. The league is your product. When the NBA was growing, they used to vet. You all remember your old school. You remember Chris Paul was denied the Lakers. He signed the Lakers. And then they're like, no, Charlotte is not going to have any star. And the Lakers already have Kobe. And I think that was when Gasol was coming, or Dwight. Was Dwight, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, why? Yes, because you stop it. Even though the NBA is a business, but you stop it. Because you cannot kill teams to build another team. That's not allowed. And so we have to reach that level where you can look at teams and be like, but you have everything. So if you're taking players, who are you sending? Okay? I would go further. I would go crazy if I was the person in charge. I would say, look, honestly, I'll say this. I'll say, okay, because even the NBA had happened before. These teams have resources, this team doesn't have. Okay, great. Let's give you an example. Storms takes a player from Shaori. Takes 2 players from Shaori. It's a trade, right? Because Storms now has to release players. Release 1 or 2 players to Shaori. But I'm going to pay their allowances. Because we don't have transfers, so how do teams survive? Why? You have to make it difficult. Say a transfer for a player is 100,000. Guess what? They won't be doing unnecessary transfers every 5 minutes to bench people. They'll need to invest money on a player that they're going to play, actually. It looks drastic, but you have to look at it in the right way. The only difficulty you have, to your point, is all of what I've said only happens if you become a professional league. As an amateur league, we don't have the leverage to do that. And a professional league comes from the teams being professional. It is not the federation that makes the league professional. It is the teams that are professional that make the league professional. Storms, Equity, Eagle Wings, everybody. Once they ran professionally, they have a secretariat, they have bank accounts, they have everything in place to be a real structured team. They're paying their players to actually come and perform. Athletes earn a living through playing. Then they sit down to the federation and say, hey, we are pros, all of our players are pros. So this is the minimum that we're going to do. This is what we're going to do here. And then the federation can put that inside the statutes. Because KBF cannot come and tell Storms today, you have to be professional, you have to pay your players 25,000 a month. From where? Did you give me the money to do that? But if all the teams are professional already, the league changes. Yes.
So,
yes. Mention it. Mm-hmm.
Right now, vitu mingi haziwezi change kama chairman wako na yeye mwenyewe. So inakuwa ngumu kwake kujaribu kubadilisha because he has nothing. So ebu ongelea hiyo.
So what I was telling you is that, look, in our setup, right, the whole cabinet of the federation, right, they're not team members, right, or team owners. So the elected members who have a passion and desire to grow the game. The thing that they have is that not getting the direct pinch of what happens to a team, most of their negotiations will be above board, right, which is about generally how the league should run. That is fine. But we need to go deeper, right? We need to go find a sponsor and tell the sponsor to give 1 million shillings to every team that is in the league so that every team can be able to sustain themselves and to manage. So I just gave you the example that time. I said, when you guys talked about Uganda, when I said, but Uganda is different. The way they decided to structure their league, the president is the president of a club. Rwanda, that's not the same way. But in Rwanda, the presidency gives orders to run things properly. And then the ministry supports, right? So here in Kenya is that we have to find a balance. Because even when you come to the chairman, I'll tell you this. Before chairman was elected, I don't know if any of you knew it, he was in Maseno. And the reason why he was elected was because he was doing a great job with Maseno. He even had the KWS sponsorship for Maseno. They had the bus and everything. If you recall, they were going to South Africa for this event, this youth tournament usually, every year. So everybody felt he can do well in the federation as a chairman. He can energy. The thing I'll say, and this is my own point of view, is I noticed that anybody who has come in that was highlighted before, the energy is not exactly the same, which means it's not necessarily that person. Hilmi, like I said, if you guys follow the league here, he coach doing stuff. Everybody in Kenya said, Hilmi Maze is the guy. Lazima kuje KBF, sindio? Akaingizwa first vice chairman, sindio? Umemwona since? So you have to ask yourself a real question. What happens? Because it's not the people, and that's why every time people say, I support the federation, I say, I don't support the federation. I understand that political seats have more things, more than meets the eye. So kuna vitu vingi hauoni, wewe unaongea tunasema tu jamaa hakuna kitu anafanya I tell you that I can challenge you, Robert. I give you the seat. In 6 months, we'll discuss, and you realize I shouldn't shoot this guy. That's not where the problem is. Because the problem is not what the chairman is trying to do. On the chairman's tenure, we've had DSTV sponsorship, Mad Goat. We had these guys, Kinapache, who were recording games and airing, you remember, yes, and doing highlights. We still have, even right now, the K-Hoops and all the guys. We always have something. Credo came. But notice what happens all the time. Every single time people come on board and they start doing things, the stakeholders, as I call them, the guys outside, start crying foul. Oh, kuna mtu amelipwa ndio wafanye hiyo. Oh, kuna mtu alikula hiyo pesa ndio manake wako hapa. Oh, siasa inaanza. The person who is doing his stuff walks away. So I don't think you should necessarily say it's the federation, because we always shoot it down. Go to our Facebook history. You realize that, and if today you guys are here, foul and one. If today you go to the federation, they tell you this is your platform, talk to teams, do whatever you want. Utasikia within 4 months. Ama boys wa Shauli pataje hiyo contract ya kupiga ma interviews kwa watu. Hizi deals za KBF atupendi. They'll shut it down. Mutaenda pia. You get it? And then we keep saying it's not the federation who kicks away people. It is us, the people around. Every time somebody is not inside, he starts crying foul and say, watu kuna biashara wanatengeneza. Kuna biashara gani exactly? Nikuulize. Kuna gani? Hakuna biashara. I do this thing for a living. At the level we are in Kenya, there's no biashara. Kama biashara ni 50,000, ni sawa. But I doubt chairman needs it.
Only chairman ni kama acting chairman.
The office. Yes.
I want your responsibility to protect these people from outside forces. Me, I feel like they have that. Sawa kichukua pia backseat wanyamaze.
That's the only place I can agree with you on, which is the thing we always raise. The real issue is not addressing things forefront, right? So if Roba comes and accuses, you have to come out with a counter statement to say this is false and this is the reality. Hiyo ni ukweli. When they say umekula pesa Mad God, usiseme waongee z. Toa press release, toa auditor account sema ndio pesa, hakuna kitu pesa nimekula. Story itaisha.
You get Mad God.
Wapi? Si unasema hivyo? Wapi? See, but they came to the AGM and gave them the whole audited accounts. Mad God's money was 20 million. They gave them accounts over 25 million spent. So tell me where the money was eaten. Pesa Mad God ilikuwa pesa national team. Na imetumika kufanya kazi yake. Hakukuwa na pesa ya sijui trophy ya winners, hakukuwa na hiyo sponsorship.
Hapo kwa audited accounts hapo.
Yes.
Unakuanga na shida sana kupata hizo audited accounts.
No, they usually release them.
Before the TM's meeting.
Yes.
Which I think the last 2 years shida. Hapa wana postpone the meeting because audited accounts.
Postpone which meeting?
Wana postpone the meeting because hawajapatiana audited.
There's nothing that is postponed. Guys don't show. I was at the last agenda, I'm saying even before we started the season. Guys don't show up. And that's because a lot of guys, because they know they control operations, they don't care about showing up a lot of times. Because they know that bado watapiga simu, watafanya. We have to just show up to address things the right way. Okay? See, but when you talk about audited accounts, again, to Robert's point, the only issue you may have with the federation is not calling out things, right? Tuseme Morans hapa wa Shauri wanacheza league 3 years. I'm just giving an example. Na wamelipa fees 1 year. Point is kuja useme Shauri Moyo Morans 2 years unpaid fees. Ndio tujue. You get it? Don't stay quiet while we're accusing you of accounts and you're like, issue in this account is that 10 of my 22 teams have not paid the fees. And we've said in the TM's group, say it. Come to the AGM, show us those people so that we can talk to them personally. We can say, Robert, mnatusumbua na mtacheza. You get it? That's the only thing. And look, in all fairness, like I said, I do this thing for a living. It's very political and technical. Because at the same time, they need you, right? You need the teams to exist. That's why I always defend them, because I'm like, at the end of the day, all KBF tries to do is make sure everybody plays. That is why if you notice, KBF in itself does not complain about certain things about teams. It's other teams that raise complaints. And then it becomes an issue. You get it? Today, play for you guys, and they won't have any problem. But then your opponent is going to say, Bona Nsona anacheza hatujamwona huko amesign kweli. And then we go backwards to the issue. As the federation themselves, they always try to do everything for guys to play. That is why even though guys have depth, I know so many teams that play 3 seasons, they didn't pay anything. they negotiate, pay half. But it's because it's an amateur league. People do it for leisure. So to them, they look at it and say, to Jaribu, to find your V2Z work. That's the only part, that's why I told you that all of these teams, we must change the way we operate. Because nobody stops you here. Today, when you started this podcast, it's nobody who invested for you to do this. You decided this is my idea. Same as if you decide you have a team, there is a way that locally you can find people to support you. You get it? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're innocent, totally that they can't do anything, because the federation can, right? Can go seek out sponsors to finance your teams. But I'm saying that while waiting for that, what are teams doing for themselves? Because as individuals, we do things. Hatubaki kwa nyumba tukilialia tukisema serikali inatupatia kazi, tunatafuta, tutafanya, tupate pesa. Si ndio? We don't cry. So why are we doing it for basketball? That's what I'm saying. We can't do that.
So the biggest problem is teams.
It's teams. I like saying this to guys. You see Uganda, right? Guys talk about Uganda all the time, and Rwanda. History is simple. The top Ugandan team started growing through their veterans, right? Like you see, like, remember Chambogo Warriors? See all those guys, Kina Ambrose and the rest, used to play Kina Grace. They decided that sisi ni wazee hatuwezi saidia hii team. So, weke pesa yetu. Pamoja, tulete vijana wacheze, wasaidie. Pole pole hivi. Same thing that Patriots did in Rwanda. Pole pole hivi. Mchango, wase, tunaanza league, pesa. And this is how they started getting money and boosting it by now being able to recruit some players. Now I have money, I say, okay, I think Pato is a good player. So since we have money, let's give Pato 50,000 a month to play for us. The rest of the team, they're going to 500 per game, but Pato has a side team. They brought, Omonyi was one of the first guys they bring. You get it? They put the table. So what happened is that the opponent realizes, hii team wanaenda. What is the secret? Ni pesa wameweka. Hata sisi tuchanga pesa. So one team, other team, and so on. That's what happened. And then when all the teams wanted to compete, they started finding ways to get their own money. Then when those teams were competitive, which means they were filling up the gym, then now the teams had more power to talk to the federation about how things can run. That's why I'm telling us the process. Rwanda was the same. Patriots was the first team because APR is a military team, right? So they had money from the government. But Patriots, the veterans started putting money in and doing things. When they went in for their first ball and all the rest, the guys changia pesa. They came up with around $50,000 or so. You get it? For that team to play. All the guys, those who have traveled, let me send money. Like you're here in Moran's here. Maybe Desmond says, my boys from Shauri, let me send 2,000. That's how it happens. You get it? And then they had money. Yes, and then had money, and then they were able to get players. And then opposition felt we need to compete. And so they put money and so on. So that's what happens. Today, if stop here in the ladies' league, and somehow I managed to get money somewhere and go and get, I don't know, a tough Congolese and a Nigerian chick, and we start beating up teams. See, the team's also going to say, tough to pay players, because Apple, Kubaya. Yeah. When you hear of basketball of the old days in Kenya even, there were many Congolese and Somalis in the league. All those guys, the Ilungas and all those guys, and they helped level because they were, and those guys were coming in and doing good and making teams competitive, which makes the local players competitive. So it's really, it starts with the teams. Like I said, the federation has their role, but teams cannot lie down flat and just complain. We have to find ways to get resources. We have to bring fans to the stadium. You play in Shauri. Shauri is a whole, all of you are friends. How many guys here, when Moranz is playing, have brought their friends, each one of them 5 friends, who join and watch the kicheza kwanza alafu tuende pale tunaenda. If you do, we get full. If you do it, your friends are going to start liking the game. They'll see some other players they like. I'm like, ay, mbona ule mfupi nani Grifo? Anacheza vizuri hata watch games out. Anacheza lini tena? That's how we get fans. So it starts from little things that we need to do to grow the game. If we don't do it, what is the federation going to sell exactly? If they entered an office today of a company, what are they selling? An empty gym? They can't sell an empty gym. Build the gym like in the playoffs all season. The federation has something you can say, let's go. And they say, okay, la 20. Tuko na kitu. Kwa sasa hatuna kitu.
There's a crop of new teams zinakuja. Tuende basketball, hoops tribe. Do you think wanataka kutumia the same logic umesema?
Yes, that's what they're trying to do. They understand. I mean, Okal is smart. He's there with Swish. Shout out to him. He understands the system. I know half of the players he's been talking to because he knows here is about let's get the right players in, make them comfortable, let's kick butt. If we do, the other guys have to do something else to battle against us. To when they understand it. Because the difficulty now is that since you have to enter through promotions, but that's a far journey, right? If you want to invest. So you have to find a shortcut to jump in if you have the money, right? So that you can actually do things, you know? And people should look at all these things as a plus because we complain about not having things in the country, but you have to allow market penetration, as they call it. So if you don't allow a new team to be created and to join the league, then how do you want it to work? So I should wait for 4 years before I get here. But those 4 years, I could have already been playing the BAL or something and representing Kenya and country on the map positively. So, but I think they're great opportunities. Those guys are investing, making the players feel good. Kwanzaa Hoops Tribe, shout out to them. You know, those guys, Shem and Zedi, all those guys, what they're doing, Kolo. It's good. It makes the guys feel excited. Those guys feel like celebrities. They do photo shoots, things that we don't have. You have to overhype your products. You know, you guys look at the NBA. The NBA is about a whole atmosphere. It's not the game, it's not layups and dunks. Very far from that. It's everything. It's bigger than life. When you're in the NBA, you feel that you're above every other person. That's how they make you feel. I tell my Kenyan friends every day, our problem in the league is that we like to bash. You think Uganda doesn't have problems? You've played there. There are a million problems. You think Rwanda doesn't have problems? You think Tanzania doesn't have problems? You think Angola doesn't have problems? Angola teams, and by the way, talk about teams, Primero and Petro for the men. It's not like they're 10 good teams. And they're the ones with all the money. But you do not see them promoting the negative things that happen. If you want to attract people to you, you have to be positive. It's like I tell people, if you see a couple quarreling all the time, this woman is throwing stones at the husband. If that woman, when the divorce comes to you and says, guy, I like you, will you take her? No, you say, we ni kisirani. Hata nivunja kichwa hapa huyu, si ndio? Because that's what they show. So we want to insult each other, quarrel, throw bottles at each other, and then go to a sponsor and say, but we're nice people, by the way. Just come and sponsor. No, they cannot. We're being chaotic. Even when you guys create this podcast and the rest, if we try to sell the positive energy of what we have, people buy into it. Again, you have to fake it till you make it. Perception is reality. Make the Kenyan league look like the greatest league in the whole world. Everybody is going to tune in to say, let me see that greatest league those guys are talking about every day. If you say shitty league, hakuna kitu ya kuona, then hakuna kitu wataangalia, then hiyo solution nataka haitakuja. You get it? If we want Shauri today to get all the people to come and support this place, we have to say it's the best gym. YMCA, the best scratcho. Kikuja hapa unasikia fiti. Play, so watu watakuja. Tunasema wacha diende Shauri. Unasikia mambo mingi hapo kuhusu hii place. So that's the thing that we need to change. We need to be positive. Positive. It's like anybody, Bruce. We're here now, we're in the middle of the hood, right? But in the hood, there are people who decide to do drugs, to be criminals, and those who decide to do a clean path like you guys. It's a choice. And when you decide to follow a clean path, all those clean options come to you. If you decide to be a thief, stealing options will come to you. It's as simple as that. You will attract that same energy. If you're a thief, you'll get more routes to where to rob. If you're a good guy, you get the good solutions. Indio, you went to study in Uganda. Yes, because you wanted to follow that path. So positively, you thought about it. So it's just really where it comes from. It's our mindset. It's our mindset and how we want to build it. Alafu tunaweza faulu. Yes. Yep.
At some point, we want people to start attract people. So players, so many people. Kuingia mazesi kiko zipatana na wasikucheza baki. Mtu wako tu kumadre huko. Life imemtuanga kuli. Unaona? Because ani wasamekuja wamepata league. Wengine hata walipata course. Ikiwa amateur league wameiacha ikiwa hivyo. So tunafaa kufanya nini hii beautiful profession?
Again, like I told you, it's just the teams. It's is that we have to understand the cycle, right? Let's answer your question directly for you to get it. Today there is a game. Storms versus Lady Moran's shouting, right? In the gym, Storms has invited no spectators. Lady Moran's has invited no spectators. So there are 28 people in Nyayo Stadium. If Federation wanted to split gate collection for the teams, right? How much money is there? 28 people times 200 shillings. Okay? That is zero money. Foy has money because of how many people tune in to watch, how many TV stations pay to air the games, how many people come to stadiums to watch. The same reason why the WNBA doesn't have money. Because of how many people tune in to watch, how many people pay to come and watch, and what that ticket is. Money is not invented. So when you say the WNBA, the biggest salary is $240,000 a year, yet a mascot like for Denver earns $650,000 a year. Well, because he's getting TV, his team generates a lot of money from all the sponsors. The WNBA does not generate. So Nikama in KBF to Seme, we had 100,000 shillings. That's all we generate. And then we have 36 teams. If we split 100,000 by 36 teams, how much money is that? You get it? He may have no money. So we cannot give money to teams to be pros. You get it? Now, flip it up to if the gym is always as full as during the playoffs, right? In the level where the teams can say, hold on. That gym is full because of us, we bring spectators. This gate collection, 50% must go to the teams that played on that day, and 50% remains to the federation. That's the conversation that can occur when this has happened. Now the team managers can sit down and say, oh, we're moving forward. Now we've brought energy. Then a TV station is going to come and say, CC, Foul and One, we want to air the games live. Because of the value that we've seen, 1,000 people come every day to watch games. We generate 500,000 per game, blah, 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 right? We have details. Now we tell them, Foul and One, it means for you to broadcast live, it'll cost you 10 million shillings per season. Because we've calculated how many times we play, how many people come and watch, which means how many people are actually having direct visibility to your product and how many can retweet it. So we've made a marketing calculation and said it's 10 million. Now they give us 10 million, we create a collective bargaining that says if a sponsor comes in, 50% goes back to teams. So 5 million go, divide again by the teams that are going to be on TV. This is how we become professional. This is how we make money, bro. But if the gym is empty, nobody has generated that money for anybody to give you that money. Because that's where it is. People go to football because we can study. How did DSTV come in the first time? Gormaya versus AFC. It was the real reason. Those two, right?
Yeah.
Even when Azam said they're coming, it's because of Gore, right? Because when Gore plays, stadium is packed. Stadium is packed means they get visibility. That's what happens. You need to have those things that create the platform, that bring the resources, where now you become a product and people are fighting to air. You watch the NBA, ABC, ESPN, CBS. Everybody has to buy how many games they can get, right? Because now it becomes exclusive. I say, no, you can get 10 games only. After we are going to 10 games, we're going to 10 because everybody wants and the money is everywhere. That's why the salaries keep increasing.
So, just recently, in the playoffs, some freelancers were blocked to air the games.
Yes.
Are we now doing the opposite of what you are saying?
Not the opposite at all. Not the opposite. Again, you cannot take this camera and film a BAL game. You cannot take this camera and film an NBA game. You have to pay rights. So during the playoffs, somebody paid for the rights to cover. Like I said, Foul and One goes and says he's for the playoffs. Once you do that, if I want to record, I need to come to you and to say, now that you have all the rights, I also want to air. You tell me, no problem, son, 500,000 for you to air. I give you 500,000. That's why people buy rights. They buy the rights so they can distribute the rights. Okay? You buy the exclusive rights, you pay the hefty amount. Anybody else who wants comes and pays you back. So now they reduce the amount of money that you've spent. That's what happens. So now these guys were told, because this is it. Let's not mistake in things. Because guys have told you things and derailed you. Why was K-Hoops able to be there? They did like everybody else. I'll give you a link. If I have the exclusive rights and I come into an agreement with you, there's no issue. I'll share the link. that you'll post via your own platform, but the link is branded because it's my link, because I'm the one airing the game, because I'm the one supposed to air the game. You get it? So that's what it is when ESPN on Super Sports. See, its ESPN logo is still there, but it's on Super Sports because they have the exclusive rights. So that's exactly what was happening. And they didn't want to toe the line, because I know some people telling stories were blocked out. Lies. One of the guys, name withheld, to the federation to pay Sujui 100,000 for rights. How much is that? How can you get exclusive playoff rights for 100,000 shillings? Do you know the cost of one game in Yao Stadium? Lights are 10,000. 4 hours of light is 40,000. Stadium is 23,000. That's 63,000. Then you pay the referees. You give me 100,000 for the whole playoffs. That has it covered one game? Simple question. One game is barely covered by 100,000. When I tell you no, and I send you to the person who has the full right to say you're not going there, what am I supposed to do with you? I cannot give rights. This person has paid and has covered all the costs. So if you want to give that money, go and give it to him. If he agrees with your money, he will allow you to put your camera. You deny. Again, those are the things that actually happened. So it's not that they were just kicked away. It's people who are given the conditions of admission. Again, like I told you guys, we are so used to doing things juakali that every time we're called upon to do things the right way, tunaanza kukasirika. But every time things are not done, sisi pia tunalalamika, tunasema mbona watu wafanyi kitu? Because you have to do it the right way. You get it?
Yeah.
See Atiku sneak, because everybody who's airing games, yeah, it's nice, there's traction, but they're taking free content to build their brands. So I'll build my brand, Alibaba. I start recording games. Everybody starts following Alibaba. Free content. So the people who are playing, who are saying on the backside, Roba, who wants to be a pro and get paid, is not complaining to Alibaba. Why is Alibaba filming his game without paying him to be his recording? Going to another person. No. Alibaba, who is recording you, is the person who owes you money. Because it's ESPN who gives money to the NBA, who gives money back to the players. Okay? So Alibaba is recording games live. You should ask Alibaba, una record games, umetulipa ngapi? Hii game yetu, zima kamera yako. Hii team yetu inacheza sasa hivi, mbona una film? Haujalipa? Zima kamera yako. Tucheze game bila wewe. Tujifilm tu sisi yenyewe. Otherwise, leta pesa ndio tuweke. That's the real path. Not the questions we're asking. That's the real question teams should ask themselves.
And follow up maybe
yes.
With the players, basically for the players, I don't think so.
Which pesa?
Pesa ile imelipwa to KBF. KBF obviously imelipwa na Credo Faster to.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, that you have to remember this. As of now, the way we're doing things, that's why I told you that we're not asking ourselves the right questions. You see, now you're coming to the question. We were always saying KBS and that. We're not asking the right questions of all those guys who say we were filming the game and promoting the game. Why have you not asked them direct questions of how much money have you given a team? You've come to film Morans versus Absa. How much in the two teams that you're about to air? That is where your question should have started, because I head to the Credo thing. But all I'm telling you is that imeanza vibaya. That's what I'm saying. Kila mahali. So inaendelea tu kwa vibaya. We have to have the right questions. You get what I'm saying? What is the trinkle? Credo, for example, you're saying that, but Credo had already said there was prize money for teams and everything. So they were going to give things to teams. They said, I'm paying for the rights so that I can pay teams. You win, you get this, second, this, third, this, fourth. So they had said that. It was there. You get it? So if you pull them away and they go away with their stuff, now, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Now we go back to square zero. And the federation doesn't have that kind of resource. Even if they wanted to, even out of their hearts. They can decide, just as chairman has usually done, he can decide, do a winner to pay 50,000. But that's a personal gesture, out of his heart. But we don't have the resources. No?
Uko tumwakapia sana. Tuende kwa the growth of the game.
Okay.
And personally, you're involved in a lot of courts being developed. Digopa, Moja,
Dagoretti,
Kibira.
Yes, Korogocho,
Jericho, Said, and what's the motivation? Like, mostly mmeenda tu outdoors. Hapo niko bias juu naangalia pale unapiga zoezi wewe mwenyewe.
No, there's no bias. It's people have to understand this. Everything is reliant on the sponsor. Everything. Even when you talk about Hennessy and the NBA doing the courts, is reliant on what Hennessy wants. You can go and talk to them and say, build a court in Limuru. They tell you no. Us guys, we found a court in Kakamega, I want to go and build it. Because money, you'll be in Kakamega. Your friends in Limuru are going to ask you, mbona umeenda Kakamega? You're like, NSC wamesema, pesa zetu ni Kakamega. Every court that has been built has a sponsor. You can see their names on it. And everyone has decided. Because every court is recorded. Every venue is recorded. I've been around. You saw when the Giants of Africa crew came here. Sindio, they came. Every court is recorded. Everything is noted. They come and posted. And then when the potential sponsors come and say, I want to do a court, they look at it. Take a case in point, right, Ombam? Today, God blesses you with all the things that you're doing. You're a millionaire. I come to you, I say, I want to build courts. I say, I have Shauri. I have another place over there in South B. I have a place in Lavington. Uta build wapi? Shauri, because metoka Shauri, sindio? Sasa, me, I live in Lavington. The guys there ask me, mbona ujaleta court hapa? I'm like, mimi, Ombam ni pesa yake, alisema ni Shauri. Wewe unaniuliza swali, mimi si pesa yangu. Ingekuwa ni yangu ningeleta huko. So every court that has been built, the sponsor has made a direct request of what they wanted. Like if you were there, if you ask anybody who was at Dagoretti, for example, let's take the Giants of Africa court, Dagoretti. The owner of Kensington said he was in Rivali Academy. His rival school was Dagoretti. They always played games together. So when he saw the list of venues, akaona Dago akasema, hawa ni watu wangu. So lazima ni wajenge court. Even though akamua, you get it? We might have had a preferred choice. He said, I have an emotional choice. I grew up with these guys. These are my guys. So because their name is here, that is where I'm building. So that's what really happens. For those who don't understand, you apply online on the website, but at the end of the day, there's a panel, and then when they present it to potential donors, those guys pick what they want. They say, I'm going here, I'm going there. Because you have to note, some of the courts that were done, like I said, I gave you Dago. We haven't even gone to Dago. See, we've gone to Stare boys and girls and everything. Why do you think we didn't build there? We have a relationship with them. Because whoever is releasing his money says, siendi huko, mimi naenda hii side. So either unaenda pali nataka, ama enda na pesa yako. You get the difference. Yeah. So that's what is happening. But all the courts that we identify, will get to them. That's the whole idea. Like any court that we've gone to, we'll do it. But in the beginning, as you want to attract more partners, you have to first of all do what the partners want. Because remember, the example of the person who went to Dago. So now we can give you another court, you're like, so Shamaliza na emotions. Sasa kuja palimina taka uende. You get it? Yeah. But he has to first finish what he wants, right? Once you want, you can extend now to what else is there to do? Where else can I be impactful? So Shauri has always been there, even for us personally, as ABD, my own NGO. For us, every time we talk about a court, it's always Shauri. In fact, I look biased when I talk to some people because you train in Shauri. It's not because I train in Shauri. It's because Shauri has a history. And Shauri is part of Kenyan basketball and its growth. I don't know what you don't understand about the reason why I say Shauri. Nothing to do with me. It's not like I'm going to gain anything particular by fixing it. I'll just gain something emotionally. I'll just feel that a place where basketball started a lot in Kenya, where most of the Hall of Famers, their trades, this is where they harness their skills. That we're going to let it be like this. This is a great gym, and there's space to do another court outdoors. You can do 2 courts right here, and then serve a larger community. That's what I always push. Right? The day God blesses me with my own money, don't worry. Shauri be the first and only court. My contractor has already come himself more than once. I have designs already. For Shauri, I have everything. All this change. I can show you the designs. It's all there. I've already done everything. I know everything that it takes and what I would like to do. The only issue is, ile siku pesa itakava.
I think tunafaa tumu-invite tu another episode ukuje tu na blueprint yote. Tuanze kufundraise hapa.
Hakuna shida.
Paulendoana hapa.
Hakuna shida. Yes, that would be good. Yeah. That's actually the way. You see, now you're understanding it. You don't. Yeah. You fundraise, you put it out there. Somebody somewhere is going to see it and say, I like that project. Who are those guys? And Akujua. You think it's not. That's actually how you do it.
So, kidogo unajua mimi napendanga mambo ya siasa.
Naona wewe unapenda siasa sana.
Federation yetu. Mimi personally kama kidogo wametuangusha. As much as tunasema tusikae na tulie. Juu wao ndio watu wa kuiba. not us. Ni hao ndo. So at some point kuna expectations zenye tuko na sisi that we feel like hai hapa kidogo mambo hayendi. So wacha nikuje kwa hii issue ya national team. Tumeongelea hapa sana.
Yes.
Tumeongelea sana. I think kwa kila episode tumeguzia kitu kimoja. So mimi nataka kusikia kitu. Wewe unajua ni umekuwa pale ndani. At some point ulikuwa I think assistant coach. You know everything. So for you, do you feel like team as it is right now na direction inachukua like first we feel like maybe for rebuilding maybe federation and other people they feel like si tuko hapo to win it all. So basically tuko hapo.
I think based on the current list, is rebuilding. It's rebuilding, but you have to. Every time we complain, we have to be honest. Did you watch the game they played last Friday? Yes. Did you watch? See, this is where the problem starts, right? You've asked me a question, but you haven't gone to actually see what is happening, right? Okay. No, gocha. Gocha nikuje pole pole. Gocha nikam pole pole. The against the guys, those were the next in line against the street team. They didn't look sharp, right? So if you sit as a federation, you look at, like I said, I sat and I'm a proponent of change. When I looked at them, I said, no, these kids cannot travel to represent Kenya to go and play. No, they're not ready at any level. They're not ready yet. You get it? You can put a couple, but you cannot put all of them. You get it? Even change is progressive and gradual. You can't just throw 12 guys who are clueless into the pit. You get it? It's progressive, like I said, and that is what they're actually doing. It's just that, like I said, it comes to the first point I talked about. The only issue is how we communicate, right? We don't come out right and tell you guys, hey guys, we're progressively changing everything. So we just throw a list. So now everybody complains, but that is what they're planning to do, right? The whole idea is, let's slide these guys in pole, right? As they gain experience, we slide them in and we go. Maybe you should talk about having more investments in, like what Des did initially to lift the Morans. More friendlies so that you can get more guys to play. Because those kids just need more time to play, right? Friendly here against Uganda, friendly there against Ethiopia. Like, why aren't they true? Because it's good to, when you go out there, when you wear the uniform, unasikia tofauti sana. You see yourself playing, you can adjust. So they're trying to do it. It's not as fast as they should do it, the changes, but it's coming. But on the flip side, Roba, I'm going to throw back to you because this is my real question I always have to guys. These kids that you're saying should replace the current national teams to show it. And this is what I mean. If I'm a young point guard and I want to replace Griffo, it means that every game I play against Griffin, I got to kick his ass individually. It doesn't matter if my team doesn't win. Against him, I guard him well, I stress his life. You understand? Every game that ends, he must look at me and say, hey, Kijana nasumbua. But it is my name on the national team, he tells the TM Gota, hapo umefanya poa. Kijana anasumbua sana. But these kids are going to lay flat. Okay? Every time they meet some of these Morans, they don't take up a challenge. So when the team manager comes and sits with the federation and looks, but why am I taking him? Every day you're getting smoked. Ombam comes in, he drops 40 and 10 on you, 30 and 10. The next kid, they tell me every day, come and see Robert. Nimbaya. Robert tunafika kwa game against my Moran. Do Robert akona 6 points, 5 fouls, 5 turnovers. Sasa nimpeleke wapi? It is Robert. You have to challenge. When you guys complain, challenge the upcoming players to up and to say, these guys cannot beat us. The recent 3-on-3, boys, did you watch it in USIU? You were there, right? Who won? So, wakati wa Griffon na Jemo, now we just now Eugene. Who was supposed to be the younger ones? Who was supposed to win that? It's a great question. And Eugene, you know I love you. I'm not putting you out there, but I'm saying those are the opportunities that when the team now sits and then tell them, I need to switch players. They say, but why? But why? I just saw the matchup. There was no influence by anybody. There was no coaching tactic. You cannot say a coach didn't benched him too much. No, it was freestyle. What did you do in your direct confrontation? This is what we must start throwing back to our players. Our players must pick up real challenges and say, I am going to replace this player. And so when I meet them, I was in Moran's training, as you said. If you would select almost the same players, because if any of the young players came and destroyed anybody, they were still lost. At the end of the day, you look at your team and like, Bado is not ready. This kid is not taking it serious. So, I think the real challenge people should give these kids, when there's a game tomorrow, and Grifo, I'm not trying to push you away, I'm just saying, these little guards that are coming, you come and say, Leonie, KU versus Thunder. Mazeu kijana anaitwa nani? Dolph. Lazima jazi Grifo na Wambua. Wambua his name? The other guy. Yes, the other guy. There's another guy that plays with Dolph. There are two of them. He was even that night. You come to the stadium to tell this kid, fire Mambo. But we don't. You get it. So if those kids don't do it, we can't get a result. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Na pia si wenyewe tunajiangalia hapa. Sometimes hata venye tulikuwa tunaangalia kwa mbaya. Kama tuko kazi nyingi sana. That is our best. So mimi ningetaka kujua. Wewe unajua wewe ni mtu mkubwa pale unaenda unacheki. Hizi vitu how do we get there?
Look, you get there by first doing an evaluation of what the problem is. The real problem is our skill level. Is the biggest problem, first of all, right? When you look at all of our teams, we can't shoot, right? We can't shoot. So because we can't shoot, we also can't defend the shots. You see, you cannot defend what you don't know. If I'm used to every player is going to pump, fake, and drive, that's how my league is. It means I'm not used to closing out completely. I'm used to climbing up to here because I'm scared of getting there because it's going to drive to the basket. When I reach internationally, where when he touches the ball, he throws it up. So I'm always late, right? First thing. So we have to look at the root cause. Our skills are skewed. I always have this challenge to guys, right? And you can answer it for me. We're not a tall nation, right? Kenya. Currently, our tallest player is Bush. Yes. Tallest guy. But is he heavy? He's not, right? The fast-paced players, isn't it? Yes. So we are an average height team. But of the mind, if you had to be honest with yourself, state 5 great ball handlers in the league. 5. Can you say, I can give 5 names of guys I'm like, ni wabaya na mpira. Wakishika tu ball hivyo shika. Do you know 5? So you don't know 5. You don't even know 3 players in the whole league, right? That you're saying as ball handlers. This guy, if I put him against Shobozwa from Rwanda, the defensive guy, right? Jean-Jacques. That Ujama is Mshika. You don't know 5, right? And this I said 5 guards. But now it's supposed to be for the whole team, because since we're not tall, it means that we have to be what? Good with the basketball and quick. If you're not tall, you gotta be great at shooting, dribbling, passing. When you watch, you know, number 1 sport in Philippines is basketball, right? They're all midgets like this. Put a game on YouTube, you'll see. They can all dribble and shoot the 3 because you're small. So if we don't fix the fact that our small players, Robert, you're not a big man, right? You're supposed to be a shooting guard or a point guard. So you're supposed to have been working on being able to shoot the 3 consistently, crossing over people, and high game IQ. So this is where we're always going far. We're looking at what KPO Lizzie didn't do. That's fine, but that's not where the problem is. The problem is that the new kids that are coming, the kids in all the academies, the kids we train on Sunday morning, what are we teaching them? Are we teaching them how to dribble, pass, and shoot properly? Or are we teaching them how to play as a team to go and win a game? Because that will not win internationally, because your fundamentals are skewed. Open is going to read real quickly. What are easy shoot? Tasak tu, jaze tu paint. Hakuna jumper. Watarusha tu mawe tukimbie fast break. And that's what happens, right? To our teams. So it comes down to, let's change what we teach our kids. I challenge you, go and watch the youth games. Go and watch high school games. You will not see that skill. You see 2 or 3 guys, and then the rest, hard workers. So they're just going to grow as hard workers and join our top teams. Yeah, we'll win against each other. Hard work against hard work. The person with the most resources wins because he has more motivation to play. But then we go out there, and guys are skilled, plus resources. It's where the problem comes. You get it? It's really where our clubs suffer. National team had advantage. They had several players who polished their trade in the US and Europe, so they could play. Now mixed with a couple of local guys, they were fine. You get it? But our local teams, the way they are, our fundamentals are still a bit skewed, and that's where the problem comes from. Fundamentals.
I think my final question will be on an official league proposal.
The conferences?
The conferences.
It's trash for the Premier League. It's total trash for the Premier League. You don't need that. You can do that in Division 1, that's fine. So you can attract more teams to play. And because the whole idea of conferencing was always because of teams from out of Nairobi and teams in Nairobi. So you would conference because let the teams in that whole region be able to compete with each other where logistically it's affordable for them. And then in the playoffs, you can now cross and play. That's really it. You understand what I'm saying? But in the Premier League, it must be an elite league. You must not do that. You must avoid such a thing. We're already too diluted. 12 men's team and we don't even have that many good players. Which means that there's so many lopsided games that you don't want to watch. Same with the ladies' league. Why are we 12? It should be 8 teams. So that those good players, the 2-3 good players from some of these small teams, join another team and form one good team. Again, it's not 4 good point guards on one team, it's 2. And then 2 others here and then 2 others there. So they can sub each other and they play. So that's what really needs to happen. Personally, I'm not for it in terms of the Premier League. I don't think the Premier League needs that. I think Division 1 does. That would be a great platform to do it, whether it's ladies and men over there. Premier League, don't do it. Premier League, keep it tight.
I'm pressed to ask you about Nuba.
About Nuba? Well, Nuba is sports apparel company that is opening up in Africa, set up by some guys I used to play basketball with in Cameroon, but they live in the US now. So ironically is that one of the main offices they want to establish is in Kenya. That's the first office they want to establish and open up is in Kenya. So we do all sports apparels, shoes, gear, leisure, balls. I'll share you guys the link of the website because the stuff is already out. There's some stuff already on sale. And so we will do some launches here. We'll use some teams and, we're really trying to do it differently. So basically get some guys, endorse 2 or 3 guys to actually do a real marketing campaign around the product and around the players, because what many people fail to understand is that it's an icon that drives a brand or anything. Even this sport you talked about earlier, basketball, if we're using Robert's image, then people who associate with him will start following that same sport. So that's what we're going to do with Nuba. Is identify those key people and be able to now endorse them so that everywhere you see them, hakuna Nuba, unamwona tu kwa billboard, unamwona kwa TV advert, unaita mtushutie tu kashoot TV, vitu kama hizo. So that's the whole idea. But it's a brand that is tailored for Africa and for Africans. And the whole idea, you'll see most of the things will be with African print and stuff, just so that we can have our own stuff. But it's all made in the same factories that they make all the high-end gear. It is. So when you see the gear, you'll see the quality. So that's the whole idea about it. So you'll see us rolling out very, very soon. My advice to everybody out there is we can all complain about things that don't work, but that's not how we're going to solve things. If you were born in the tiny village in the end of some dead country, you only get out of that village if you don't cry about being born in that tiny village. It's by looking for where's the road to town, and then you walk pole, and then you get there. Where's the road to a place I can do something? And then before you know it, you are sent to the highest mountains. But if you stay and you cry in that small village, in that small hole, you remain there. So if you want to grow yourself, whether it's a team or an individual, it's by you putting the work out there and putting yourself out there such that you can have an opportunity to succeed. It is very bad to always say that other people hold your destiny, because it's not true. And what we have a tendency to do in basketball here is we say some people have our destiny. KBF holds our destiny. No, they don't. We hold our own destinies as teams and as players. Because I don't think they're the ones who sent those who are pros to play pro where they're playing. Those guys worked hard. You know your own friends were here with you who worked hard, got exposure, and got out. So everybody out there who's listening, you want to replace Moran, kick his butt when you meet him. You want to have the best team in the league, go find somebody who's going to give you guys 10 bob, another one is going to give you 20, 30, is going to reach $1 million. You don't need to find somebody who's going to give you $1 million immediately. Ni pole pole tu, ndio mwendo, si ndio? So push yourselves and you'll be able to make it.
Waga ni mbaya.